Polisian of the NPP. That's coming up tonight on the Battleground. We always say, take a seat, or if you're standing, then stand firm. This is the Battleground here on Joy 99.7 FM. And at this point, we will go straight to the Jomoro constituency. Welcome once again. I am Emefa Apawu.
The Jomoro constituency will on December 7th see a keen contest. The NPP's Polisian will be seeking the mandate of the constituents to lead them for a second time.
This is the first time NPP has won the seat. We have never won it before. And this has won it for over 20 years. And in my short time, if you want to compare the kind of project I have done in tomorrow years, it's far, far ahead of that of the NDC. Going for the second time, it's not only my wish, but it's the wish of the people of Jomoro. The people of Jomoro have developed a slogan, and the slogan is that form of Fanana is here forever. In December is a done deal, and we are not looking at about 20%. My margin of victory in Jomoro is about 70%.
The NDC's Dorcas Afotofe, the mother of popular musician Fontana, making her first entry on the Ghanaian political scene, is sure of recapturing the seat for the NDC. She maintains the Jomoro seat is for the NDC, but was loaned out to the NPP in 2016.
The seat has always been ours, and Jomoro, everybody knows that it's NDC. There was one or two things that happened, okay? The apathy, the things that happened that people didn't vote and all that. That is what gave them the opportunity for them to come into power. Other than that, it wouldn't have happened. It has never happened before. They are very angry all over the whole constituency. They know that the young man is bad news. He has not done anything. Everything he's promised is nothing but lies. Right now, when you talk to people, they're like, oh, we thought MPP could do something better. But from what we are seeing right now, he's not a threat at all. He knows that he's fighting a loose battle.
Sonia Yaba Nkrumah, a one-time member of parliament on the ticket of CPP, is now seeking to recapture the seat as an independent candidate.
I have not abandoned our father's vision. I'm an Nkrumahist by birth, by blood, and by conviction. In fact, the reason I'm still doing this politics is to honor our father's great legacy by making a contribution in practice, in demonstration, so that people, especially young people, will understand what this legacy was all about. And it was about serving the people, using whatever you have, whatever assets, powers you have, to improve the lives of our people. And I know that I can do that here in many ways.
In the car to the Jomoro constituency, some residents are busily discussing issues of concern. Some say the current MP has failed them in leading developments.
Yeah, former assembly member has deceived us. Politician has deceived us. Upon all that he promised to give us, none of that has been provided. So since this woman came, he came out of nowhere. But he has been able to provide us with something that has even enticed us to vote for the lady.
Last 4 years,
I voted for MPP 4 years ago. Not much has changed since they took over.
I campaigned for Polisian. He promised us jobs, but we haven't been employed. So forget about him.
Other residents gathering at the bus terminal have their own views.
My own opinion,
Why are you saying this?
Because I am in a band group, and the last 2 weeks, MPP made their rallying, and the number of people with MPP as compared to the NDC party, I mean, the majority goes for the MPP.
Yeah, MPP.
I am an MPP person. Paul Asian has done well, but there's more to be done.
Omo ba so no ye boat driver omo ba ye no patrol ne ye di two boat no ye nya bi beto aba ma honorable Paul Asian me sure MP for omo ba jomon na MP aka.
I will vote for Polisian. Others did 12 years and did nothing.
In Hafesnin, the municipal capital, and Jawe Wharf, there are loud calls for the daughter of Ghana's first president, Kwame Nkrumah, Samia Yaba Nkrumah, to be voted for.
Many factors account for our voting this year. One of it is that our mother has a good network and a good foundation that he has laid in Jomo. That is why we are aiming for him. That is why we are going to vote for her. She has lived a legacy of communal development. Within Jomoro, every community, this woman has a handiwork there. And such a person you cannot let go. This time around, Jomoro people are yearning eagerly for her, and they are seriously crying for her coming back.
She's someone she doesn't like discriminating. She doesn't discriminate. Some year during her regime, he awarded some scholarship. As I'm speaking to you here, I'm also a beneficiary. She awarded scholarships in the tertiary institutions. She did a lot for the people of Jomoro. My little advice that I will tell the good people of Jomoro is to vote and campaign around vision.
So now 17 back, I better about my family. It's unfair. MPC baby abako. A big boss say you pay. You press Katambla, so you up and down. Now Sammy Abba now Oyes Katambla, so I do oye with Jomolo. MPBI and you do Jomolo had.
All is about the only person who can help Jomolo is Samia Yaba Nkrumah. So Samia coming back, the youth of Jomoro have united to combine that we are going to vote for her to take the seat of Jomoro.
Only time will tell who will be victorious.
Well, this is radio for the discerning listener. This is Joy 99.7 FM. We've just returned from the Jomoro constituency. You've heard the residents interact with my colleague, Inathalia Kwansa. We'll hear from the candidates themselves also. Samia Yaba Nkrumah contesting as an independent candidate. We have the NDC's candidate, Dorcas Afutofe, and then also, of course, the NPP's candidate, the current MP for the area, Paul Asian. We'll be going through the number of persons that have occupied that seat from 1979. But my colleagues are with me in the studio. The head of our political desk, Evans Mensah, is in the studio, and we also have the able producer, Joseph Akable. And well, he comes very close. He comes from Lembele and is very close to Jomoro. I'm sure you know the dynamics also. You've been there. You've heard the listeners, like you've heard the constituents from that area. If you're listening to us now and you hail from that area, you would vote. You would decide who goes to Parliament in the Jomoro constituency. This is a good time to hear you. It's 055-1111-997. Send us a message. It's via WhatsApp. Also on Facebook, you can leave your comments there. Now, Joseph, you've listened to the people. First, tell us about the Jomoro constituency, what we should know about it.
And so I want us to look at it from the broader context of three constituencies in the area. And so they are referred to as Nzima constituencies because those are predominantly Nzima areas. And there is the Jomoro constituency, there is the Evaluwe Jomoro constituency, then there is also the Lembele constituency. The interesting thing about these three constituencies is that currently the MPP holds two of the constituencies. So you have Catherine Afeku, the former tourism minister. She holds the seat in terms of Evaluate for the MPP. Then they also hold Jomoro, which they won for the very first time in 2016. And so if you go to, you pick the other seats, it tends to be between the CPP and the NDC more. The MPP tends not to perform very well, except in the Evaluate area where they've won it 2 times. And so that is how it looks. But in terms of Jomoro specific, since 1996, the NDC won in 96, they won in 2000, they won in 2004 as well. Then in 2008, Samia Yabankroma, the daughter of Ghana's first president, who hails from Nkrofo, which is within this particular constituency, shows up from nowhere, contests on the ticket of the CPP, and manages to win the seat for the CPP.
And that's in 2008.
In 2008. Unfortunately for her, in 2012, she lost. But she comes back in 2016 and she still loses, still on the ticket of the CPP. But interestingly, the MPP for the first time wins the seat in 2016. And that is Paul Essien, someone who has grew up in the area, he works in the area, a teacher in the area. He just shows up from, comes up as someone who is known in the area.
He's a former assemblyman as well.
He's in fact the current deputy chieftaincy and religious affairs minister. I know him quite well. And so he's a down-to-earth person, and he shows up and he wins the seat for the very first time for the MPP. And so in terms of how Jomoro looks, first we have a constituency that is largely an NDC seat because they've won it the most times. You also have 2 candidates who are very unique candidates in the sense that they came and broke a certain monopoly. And so one Samia who came in and won a seat for the CPP, which had been proud to have been won by the NDC all through. Then you also have a politician who won a seat for the first time for the MPP.
And I'll come to a bit more of the political dynamic, but something else about Jomoro struck me. It is also bordered by La Côte d'Ivoire, right? Because you have other constituencies that border it, like Wassa Menfi or Wing Swaman to the north. We have Nzima East District to the east, but then there's La Côte d'Ivoire to the west. When you have a situation like that, when you have another country bordering a constituency, it's always the sort of folder for some tension because of the concerns that we've had about people who are non-Ghanaians coming in to vote. If you check the Ghana Statistical Service data, the foreigners, the non-Ghanaians there, in terms of the population of Jomoro, make up, the last census, make up about 2,100. There are 2,100 people there who are non-Ghanaians. But there's also 0.4% of the population who are naturalized, as in they are not Ghanaians, but they've come to acquire Ghanaian citizens, right? All these play a role in the actual eventual outcome of the elections, although the numbers are small. The reason why it is important is Jomoro is one of those constituencies. It's a marginal seat. You don't win it by much. In fact, Nanado's victory in the last elections there won it by just 800 votes. 884 votes to be very specific. So it's very close. So when you have 2,000 plus non-Ghanaians there, who many of them possibly would have been registered to vote, right? And then you have people who have naturalized, who are not necessarily from there, but are from others. That then begins to play a factor. Now, if we also look at the demographics in terms of the sort of the population, it got quite a significant Western region. It makes up some more than 6% of the Western region population, Jomoro alone, okay, with some 150,000 people there, mostly farmers. So for them, the things that matter to them are, that's why CPP becomes similar and wins. The sort of heritage is important for them. Okay, so in Nkrofo is where
she comes from. There as well.
She comes from, and Dr. Kwame Nkrumah also comes from this, but she benefits from that as well. I heard her in the report say that she's going to ride on the back of the father's heritage. I'm sorry, she's going to lose. I say that because the history tells a story. You made the point. When she just got on the scene in 2008, she won the seat with 19,116 votes. That's 50%, just about 50% of the votes. Then she comes again, still on the CPP ticket. In 2012, she loses. Her votes then drop from 19,000 to 18,000. She loses to the NDC. NDC regains it. She comes back in 2016, loses again. This time, there's a tragic drop in the amount of votes she manages to get. The third time she comes, which is 9,000. So this is somebody who, from a high of 19,000, has dropped in just over 3 election cycles
to 9,000.
To 9,000. I mean, if you do trend, that tells you that your fortunes consistently, and from last election to now, from 2012 to 2016 alone, the drop is significant.
And it's worth pointing out that over that period, she had the access to the party machinery, which is something that she will not be having this time around, because unlike those periods when you have the party individuals who go out there and campaign for you, this time around, unfortunately, she's running as an independent candidate. But then again, the argument could fairly be also made that the data also shows that Samia, as an individual, obviously is stronger than the CPP, because the CPP, by way of its presidential candidate's performance, has not been good in that constituency. In fact, the constituency has, interestingly, the person who they tend to vote in terms of the presidential election, the person who wins the presidential election in that constituency tends to win the national election.
So it is, and there's one thing that makes Jomoro interesting. It is a swing constituency at the presidential level, but it is an NDC stronghold at the parliamentary level. That makes it interesting. And the other thing that makes Jomoro stand out is, it is possibly the only constituency in Ghana, and I'm still looking for the contradiction to this point, where in the last 3 elections, 3 different political parties have won it.
Yeah.
Possibly the only constituency in Ghana like that.
So
CPP had won it.
CPP, NPP.
Possibly the only constituency like that. And that opens the gate for, at the parliamentary level, safely, historically, you could say the NDC stands a better chance of winning because it is an NDC stronghold, as I said, at the parliamentary level. Paul Essien is an outlier when it comes to the parliamentary trend analysis. Got on the scene, won it, never been won before by the MPP. So he is a strong candidate. He's been maintained. He is formidable. But the margin is one of those places I consider marginal victory. Anything below 5,000, if you win by, can swing back to tradition, to default setting, and that for me is key going forward. So if you look at Samia, what can she do this year? 9,000 as an independent. Now, okay, here's another thing. Let's go back.
Hold on to that. I know that you're going to give us all the analysis on how she's going to win the seat as an independent candidate and all. But unfortunately, we didn't start without asking Akable to tell us how to greet the people of Jomoro in their language. Then we can hear from the candidate.
In Ghana, we virtually greet everywhere by asking how you are doing. So we just say Kodie and you respond better.
Okay, yeah, Evans, Kodie.
Better.
Okay, so at this point, we bring in the independent candidates for the Jomoro constituency, Samia Yaba Nkrumah.
I have not abandoned our father's vision. I'm an Nkrumahist by birth, by blood, and by conviction. In fact, the reason I'm still doing this politics is to honor our father's great legacy by making a contribution in practice, in demonstration, so that people, especially young people, will understand what this legacy was all about. And it was about serving the people, using whatever you have, whatever assets, powers you have, to improve the lives of our people. And I know that I can do that here in many ways. So I do want to represent the people of Jomoro, because I know I have a strong voice, and I know that my ambition is not a selfish one. It's one for everyone. My aspiration is that of the people. We need to push not just the constituency of Jomoro, but I think all rural Ghana or our urban underdeveloped areas, we need to push them up, one level up, higher. That's a must, and it's a mission. I have links here, I have roots here. Our grandfather is buried not far away from here, and our father spent his early years here. He went to school in the Roman Catholic, the missionary school, and it's still here, standing, not far away from where we are. And all this makes me believe and think that I have a responsibility and a duty to make a difference in our people's lives.
And in 2016, this same people didn't vote for you. Why are you coming back?
When you're on a mission, you don't give up. You don't sit down. you're not afraid, and it's not about you, it's about what you are bringing on the table. There are many reasons why electoral you might lose, but it doesn't necessarily have to do with your mission and why you must accomplish your mission. So when you're on a mission, you don't stop until you accomplish that mission. We know there are many factors that come into electioneering. The voters register in the Jomoro constituency against all odds, and despite the population increase and the general increase of the voters' population in the whole of the country has dropped. Not by 1,000 votes, not by 2,000 votes, not by 5,000 votes, not by 10,000 votes, but by close to 19,000 votes. So that is a signal and it's a message. Where are all those names? What happened? How did we go to elections in 2012 and in 2016 with a voters register that, in my opinion, was heavily bloated? But that doesn't matter now, because I think we have to look forward. And in fact, I'm looking into the future. As an independent candidate, I would like to bring everybody together, irrespective of their political party, to unite behind a vision for development, for changing the face of Jomoro, for making a contribution, to do things in a better way. And also, I think our parliament in Ghana needs a genuine Nkrumah's perspective, to make a contribution to how we manage our affairs as a nation. So I think there's a call and a need for what we are doing. It's not about one person, it's not about one woman, but it's about many, many of us. So I think that's the essence of being on a mission, and that's the essence of representing a legacy. And at the core of the aspirations of that legacy is the people. Being honest with the people, serving the people, thinking about the people, and dreaming and working with them. So I see that my aspirations, my deep aspirations, are in line with the aspirations of the people. And I think if I speak about rural Ghana, this constituency is a microcosm of what the whole nation is really. And the one thing that we need above all else is jobs and work and productivity. If you look at a constituency like Jomoro, it's very rich, natural wealth, very rich, agricultural wealth, mineral wealth, you name it, it's here. So it is our duty or our task going into the years to come to make sure that there are some industries here, agri-industries to start with, that will provide thousands of jobs for young people, particularly as our statistics tell us that the majority, for 60% of the population, is young. So this is what rural Ghana or the whole country needs, to be more productive, to be more self-reliant, to add value to our primary projects. And that, in essence, is formed the basis of our 1963 7-year development.
So what makes you exceptional from your other contenders?
I can't say that. I think the people should say that. I hope as you go around, you should find out from the people. I can only speak about what I want to do, what I think I'm capable of doing. And I think I did say that I do have a strong voice. I have a strong network, and this is my mission. It's not a question of selfish ambition or narrow ambition. So this is what I'm bringing in, all what I've got. And I don't stand alone. Behind me is a great legacy, a great ideology and philosophy that needs to be lived, to be practiced for the benefit of the people.
So you're sure to take the Jomoro seat again?
I very much hope to do that, but the people will decide.
And the people certainly will decide. You heard there Samia Yabankruma, the independent candidate for Jomoro constituency, a woman on a mission with a strong voice. And Evans and Joseph, it appears that for her, the legacy is the biggest thing for her, the Kwame Nkrumah legacy. And Evans was talking about it earlier, that will lead to her loss.
No, but the people have shown, the people have rejected that legacy over the last 2 elections. Most significantly in the 2016 elections, where they only gave her 9,000 when she's dropped from 19,000. That just should tell you that that legacy isn't enough anymore for the people of Jomoro. Worse for her is that part of the legacy is a CPP.
Yeah.
This time, she hasn't got a CPP's covering anymore. The people, gave her the vote in 2008.
Yeah.
Not only because she is the daughter of Nkrumah, but she also on Nkrumah's party's ticket.
In fact, how to marry this whole thing about the fact that you've not abandoned the ideals, yet you are not contesting on the ticket of the party, is a very debatable issue. And when we put out a story on Midday, people were even raising the issue that, this is the party that your father founded. This is the party that he set up as the vehicle to put across his vision. Which better organization can put across that vision? But more importantly, the fact that it's a very underdeveloped area, and she alluded to that herself.
That they need jobs.
They're terrible roads. In terms of the Nzima constituency, it's one of the least developed. And even the former president's hometown, the roads are in bad shape. It's a typical rural place in this part of the country. And so it's not just about their aspirations. So the point he makes that the people want to have an Nkrumah, a proper Nkrumah in parliament, it goes beyond that. They tried that in 2008, but they now want development. And this is just like the first candidate Evans we've heard answer the question about whether she will win by saying that I hope to win.
But it will depend on the people.
Yeah, of course. Of course. That tells you her level of confidence. Her case is made worse also because the CPP is fielding a candidate, right? The CPP has a candidate. The CPP's candidate is Echi Kwesi.
How strong is he?
Echi Kwesi. Good.
How strong a candidate is?
We don't know. It will play out in the elections when we see. But if you watch him, I've just do some textual analysis. His campaign poster has Nkrumah in the background for whatever.
Have we seen Samia's poster? Do we have?
I've seen one, but they didn't have the father. But if you are the daughter of Nkrumah, you don't need.
You don't need.
But at least you need to remind the people because you're going on that legacy.
So for the people in Jomoro who are attached to the Nkrumah, the name Nkrumah, and they love the CPP because it's the Nkrumah's party, they will be torn, right? They'll be torn between giving it to Samia, the daughter, or giving it to the party's candidate
that the father founded.
That would even mean, for me, that the least amount of votes she got in the last election will reduce even further. Because
so from
now
9,000 will go down.
I predict so. Because now there's the party's candidate and yourself as an independent, you're going to split the votes for those who are loyal to the Nkrumah's ideology, the Nkrumah into the party, and I really don't see any way out for her than another defeat for Madam Samia Nkrumah.
Well, we'll go to the other female candidate in this contest. That's representing the NDC, Dorcas Afu-Tofe. But there's some comments on Facebook. Let's take a few of them. Eric Wule Aka says the Honorable Paul Essien has single-handedly secured employment for 100 university graduates at GES, which Honorable Leo Kran, as a Minister of Education during the NDC's time, couldn't do for the constituency. Essien forever, he says. And there's another one that says that Samia is an indecisive leader and sees Jomoro as a second option. Samia has nothing good for Jomoro. She only comes around during elections, he says. And there's another one from John Equis. He says Samia is not going to win. She's only coming to split the vote in Jomoro. Essien is going to win massively, and he asks for more for Essien. Now, Lamin Adinan says Samia Nkrumah has no principles. She's just contesting. And Nana Kubu says voting out. He's talking about the Jomoro people getting involved, and then we have more on that. But let's, at this point, bring in the NDC's parliamentary candidates for the constituency, Dorcas Afu-Tofe.
I have the track records. I am not even a member of parliament, but I've done a lot of things for the people, and as a result, They have confidence in me. They know that I am the type of leader they are looking for. And if they should give me that mandate, I will do more. I mean, I'm not in Parliament yet, and the things that I've done with my own money clearly shows that when that mandate is given me, a lot will be done for them. I am one of them. I grew up here. I schooled here. I identify with them. I understand the culture, the differences, and everything. And so that's a plus. They don't have to come to me through somebody else who is going to interpret whatever that will be communicated to me, but they can come directly because I can speak the same dialect as they are. And that is the reason why I think they see me as one of them, and I'll be able to help. Because, I mean, if you can give something like an ambulance to the people, I mean, recently the Ghana government just brought one. And as an individual, if I can take my own money and buy a whole brand new ambulance and give it to a hospital, it tells you that I have the people at heart. And so if they give me that mandate, I'll do a lot for them because I've been with them. They are my people. I understand everything that they go through. Unlike our own Samia, who the people during 2008, when we voted massively for her, it was done based on the father's legacy. Because she came as Nkrumah's daughter, they thought that they have to give her that opportunity to see what she was going to do for them. But I mean, she disappointed us. Okay, she didn't do much. NDC was in power. Opportunity was offered her to do a lot for us, but because she didn't understand the dynamics and the culture differences and all that, she didn't take it. She denied us and disadvantaged us, and she declined every offer that was given her. And so nothing was done, in her own power. I mean, she was able to do one or two things from the common fund and so forth, but it wasn't much for the people. So I know that if they give me that mandate, I'll be able to help my people because I'm one of them.
Yeah, you just made a mention that Samia was given opportunity to do things and she declined. These are serious. Do you have proof to back these words?
I mean, it's public records. I'm not going to sit here and dive deep into it. That is exactly what happened. And if you want me to give you more information on that later, I'm available to do so. But that's exactly what happened. I mean, you can also do your own research to find out what I'm talking about. I mean, this is very serious. I mean, Joy News is a big platform that nobody should take it for granted and just come on it and say anything that you want, that you're not sure. But what I'm speaking or what I'm talking about is a fact.
Is another case that because her party was not in power, she was sidelined?
No, ma'am, that's not true. I mean, the people, even though she came on CPP ticket, okay, but NDC was in power, they saw her as one of us. And so it was our father, may his soul rest in peace, Prof. Atta Mills, who gave her that opportunity, and she declined it, because she knew that her coming on board, using her father's platform or legacy, he knew that if opportunity is given her through NDC, a lot will be done for the good people of Jomoro. And she declined it. She didn't want it. And for that reason, we are in what we are in today. And that was the reason why 2012 and 2016 she lost. Because if you saw how they voted for her during 2008 when she came, everybody, I mean, it was like a second God has just dropped. Everybody was all with her, doing everything they can to bring her into power, thinking that coming Nkrumah's daughter, I mean, hey, our own has come. She's going to save us. And she did not do it. So, yeah.
Back to, you said you've done a lot of things, but you just made mention of an ambulance. And, well, it's a big deal for you and some people, but I don't think it's just a big deal to say you've done a lot and you just mentioned an ambulance. So if you can just mention some of the things you've done which are really relevant to the people and to which sector of the economy.
Okay, like I said earlier, or I don't know whether I was on camera, but I'm a woman of few words and a lot of action. I am the true definition of woman of action. I do a lot, and I don't brag about it. So when you go on social media, a lot of the things I do them behind the scenes. But I went as far to do a green book, which I have right here with me, and in that, because of time, I won't be able to sit here and mention every single one of them, the things that I've done, but it has been segmented. When it comes to education, I've done things like donating cement to various schools. I have given some laptops, some computers, so ICT centers to be specific. I've done all that. I mean, I can sit here and go on and on and on when it comes to the health center. Recently, the only government hospital we have, which is the Hafasni Hospital, they are building a children's ward. They needed help. They reached out to me. I donated cement and some sand and all that just to help the cause, because I believe in that. That is, for me, that is what I do. And so I supported that. Well, like I said, if you come to individuals that needed like operations and stuff like that, from my own pocket, I've supported them. Over 30 people that I have actually helped them with money to do surgeries and stuff like that. It's a lot. I cannot even sit here to mention them one by one.
And that's Dorcas Afu Tofe. I would be asking you to tell us a bit more about her, what we know about her. But those watching us on Facebook can't really engage. And you can also send your message via WhatsApp. It's 055-11-11997. We'll go through some of them. King Solomon says, Honorable Dorcas Afu Tofe will make Jomoro better. Trust me, he says. Now, Nana Kubu says, a leader that we can trust. Think development, choose Dorcas Afu Tofe. Now, there's one also from Kufo Gidira NS. He says, listening live all the way from Elubu border in the Jomoro constituency, and is wishing all of them good luck. And Abeku Nyame Poxon says he's following keenly, and I'm sure he'll give us his verdict shortly. Mark Tony Kizito says, this time around, we are not looking at any political party, but the right person who will bring development and jobs for the youth. The person is Samia Yaba. That's from Kizito Jr. in Inzulezu. And this one from Eric Awule. He says, Dorcas claims she is coming to redeem Jomoro from bondage, but her party, NDC, has ruled the constituency for 20 years. So is she coming to redeem Jomoro from the mess the NDC created for the past 20 years, he says. Now, Eric Dankwa says the second position of NDC on the ballot papers symbolizes the second defeat of NDC. Okay, now we are in Jomoro tonight, so let's focus on Jomoro. Now we have one more. ASEAN 4 years in Jomoro is far better than an NDC 20 years. That's John Equisi. So keep your messages coming. We'll interact on that. If you are in that area, you're in the Jomoro constituency, tell us why, what your decision will be, and who you are supporting and why. We would want to hear that. But Evans, let's talk a bit more about Dorcas Afu Tofe. The only thing I know is that she's the 18th of what? 23 children. What more do we know about her?
I mean, one of the things that struck me about who she is the fact that she is a thoroughbred Jomoroian, if there's anything like that. I mean, she was born there, school there, went to a school that bears the name of where Nkrumah is from, in Crawford Agricultural Secondary School in 1986. I mean, and she just left to the U.S. You could hear the
a bit of the accent,
the U.S. accent in there when she was speaking there, because she, after second cycle school, she went to the USA and stayed there for a while, joined her other brothers and relatives there. The thing about it, though, that struck me, both in the interview, but also linking to what we know about her, she's done public relations, marketing, business administration. With that sort of background, that should help you in sort of framing your message when you are, say, a candidate, for example.
Was she able to do that in that interview?
That's my observation. I was surprised that he not once in that interview did she speak about her main challenger. I mean, the incumbent member of parliament for Jomoro. Not once. She was quite enamored and very focused on.
Maybe he's a walkover for her.
Obviously not. I mean,
she's focusing on someone Evans doesn't believe is likely to win.
Not even me. Forget about
from what the data says.
From what the data says.
Yeah.
I mean, if she's done her analysis, Samia is not her competition. I mean, you cannot underestimate him. This is somebody who won the seat for the MPP when no MPP candidate had ever won it before, with quite a handsome margin. Also, yes, it's marginal, less than 5,000, but he won it nonetheless. And yet, you do an interview, and not once do you mention him and how you deal with the threat that Paulician provides, and that, Joseph, surprises me.
Yes, I mean, obviously, because maybe she thinks that Samia will be a bigger threat this time around. I don't know why she would want to think that way, but obviously, I agree with Evans on the point that Paulician is the person to beat. And I mean, for those who follow music, she is the mother we had in that report earlier of Fantana. Yes, she used to be with Rough Town Records. I mean, I'm surprised you don't know her.
I think I've heard of her. Evans doesn't. I'm better.
Yeah,
at least I know about the beef between
and the former president, John Mahama, was in the constituency quite recently. In fact, within this week, and he went over there and was making a point that they should vote for the candidate. And so this is a seat that the NDC believes is their seat because they've won it most of the times, and so they want to take the seat back.
This is her first time, isn't it?
Yes, this is her first time contesting, and so she's new to the terrain, but she's confident that she can win the seat. But obviously, Paulician is the guy. He's the Deputy Chieftaincy Religious Affairs Minister. He's done very well. He's won the seat for the MPP, and he is confident of victory. I mean,
and that's the apt introduction to Paulician at this point. Let's listen to him.
In 2008, came at the point where everybody had the thought of the father in mind. So she got the glory and she got the applause from the people. In her second term, we realized that she was somebody who could not go directly to the people. She always had to send people to go there, go and do this. But if you really want to talk about Jomoro, you must understand what Jomoro stands for, and you must know what they do. If you talk about me, for instance, I was born and bred here. I have schooled here and worked here. I've worked at the GHS for good 7 years, whether at the secondary school as a teacher, whether at the secondary school for good 8 years also as a teacher. There is no problem in Jomoro that I Asian do not know. There is no single community here. There is no village here I have never attended to. I know everywhere in Jomoro, and I know what actually comforts the people. And actually, I am in a better position to give or to do what the people want. Let me give you a typical example. I happen to be an assemblyman 2020-2014. There was an NGO who actually came around to assess the performance of members of assembly members. And I was again the most promising man of development. Tikobo, I come from Tikobo number 1 in the Jomoro district and municipality. And if you look at the kind of project, the kind of things I did as just an assembly member, it was far above somebody who was even a member of parliament by then. So that actually gave the people the nod. And everybody in Jomoro, whether NDC, MPP, CDP, everybody was saying Asian. And you see, in 2008, MPP was down by 13,000 votes. Difference between MPP and NDC. But this vote has to turn because I was the choice of the people. I always look up to the people before myself. And I always say it is Jomoro first before any other person. In touch with the people. You see me when the people are working, you see me working with them. When they are playing their draft, wherever they are getting, I'm always with them. I don't sit in my car, roll my glasses, and pretend to be so bigger than they are. I am always in close contact with my people. We understand each other. You see me even playing football with them, doing a lot. And I've been a player in a second division team here before. I'm always with my people, and I understand their language, they understand my language. I'm a Christian as well, and I'm a of the Church of Pentecost. We move to churches, there are churches here over, we do a lot of things for them. I did it as an assembly member, and I'm doing it as a member of parliament. If I want to talk about my performances or my relationship with the people and why the people actually want me, I mean, it's enormous, and I can't finger out only one thing to say that is why the people like. So, yes, on the side of Honorable Samia Yabai Nkrumah, she came if let's say I said to point to the kind of things she did in Jomoro, they count from community to community. We can count. We have over 80 communities in Jomoro here. Count every single community what you have done there. That people can go there today and they can attest to it. That is what tells you that you came and you did well or you didn't do well. Apart from even the tangible things I have done so far, there are a lot of things which are intangible, which I have also done to support businesses, employment, education, health, and other sectors, farming, and other sectors. So even at Greek, when anytime it is Farmers Day, if I don't buy this tricycle, I buy motorbikes, I buy diffusers, and other things for the farmers, cutlasses, spraying machines, other things, other inputs that is good for farming. I buy all these things for my people.
We understand that Dr. Sofe is giving you a keen contest and it has become a headache for you and your campaign team.
I'm a bit, I don't know probably the word keen is relative. Because I could see that when I was, anytime I'm not around, then she comes out. But when I come around, I don't see her around. And anytime she meets me, even at a program, she's unable to stand. I don't know what she has done that actually puts a fear or tells me that she's giving a keen competition. NDC is the greatest and also the largest opposition party. No matter what it is, they will have a strength in Jomoro. That does not mean that she has a strength, give me problems, or give me a strong competition. No, I don't see that. Jomoro is not about your name, it's not about your appearance, it's not about your beauty, it's not about who you are as I sit here. Oh, is a handsome man, or let's go and vote for him. Or this woman is a handsome woman, or this woman is a fair woman. No, that is not about Jomoro. The people of Jomolo want to see what have you done so far. And that is what is most important. The people of Jomolo want to see what you have done. What are you doing? And what are you about to do? When I was coming to be, I was just about becoming a member of parliament. It's not because I want to be a member of parliament that I didn't dream. Neither did I have any, I even dreamt of becoming a member of parliament. It was not part of my dream. But based on the kind of work I did as an assembly member, that is what actually made the people of Jomolo to call on me to become a member of parliament. That is actually what I did. And so it is not about somebody giving me a king competition or posing some kind of threat to me, or no, there's nothing like that. As I said, they are the largest opposition party. They have their strength. They have in mind that Jomolo is for them. And that is a notion I just want to refute that it is not true.
You heard there the MP for Jomoro constituency, Paul Essien. So he's in to diffuse that notion that Jomoro is for the NDC and that this competition is not about your name, nor your appearance, or your beauty. That's the MP for Jomoro constituency. Let's go through some of the messages that they're really engaging on Facebook. And Bishop Louis Bendazi is saying that Dokas Afo Tofi all the way. What has Essien done at Jomoro district at all? Let's vote for change. And that's Bishop Louis Ben-Nati reporting. Mame Jawa Inti says Jomoro has been in bondage for the past 20 years in the hands of the NDC. Paul Essien came to our rescue, and today we are so proud of Paul Essien and the NPP, so we say for more for him. John Ezonle Benle says Jomoro is maintaining Honorable Paul Essien because of his unprecedented one community, one project initiative. Evans Kaku says Paul Essien is the right person to be voted for in my best knowledge. He says he has vision and ambitious. He spent almost 100% of his life with the people. Mami Janwine, he says, we say for more for Essien and Nana to do more. That's basically what she says. Now, John also says Essien is a hardworking man and deserves another 4 years. Nana Kubu says Jomoro will surely work again. All hands will be brought on board. We shall all get our fair share of the national cake. Let's help bring the positive change for the people of Jomoro. I think development. Choose Dokas Afo Tofi, he says. Now, Abenlema Inoku says 4 more for Paul Essien. We have more, and there's one from Eric Awule. He says Polisian has lobbied for the construction of 108 kilometers of roads in Jomoro in just 4 years, something the NDC in Parliament could not do. So you have been to that area, Joseph. Tell us about the state of roads in Jomoro constituency.
In fact, if you compare the constituency to Elembele, I mean, it's way behind. I mean, poor roads. You have a lot of people, like Evans gave in terms of the data, they are involved in the agricultural sector. And so it's an area where people feel there's still more that can be done in terms of tapping the human resources of the people and encouraging them to do more for themselves. And so it's one area that if you take someone to, assuming you have a visitor from outside the country, and you take the person to and you tell the person that this is the constituency that our first president is from, this is not something that the person will be impressed with at all. There's more that can be done by way of development, roads, water, good schools, among other infrastructure that will be needed in the area.
Well, so King Solomon is responding to the issue that we raised earlier about why Afotofe did not mention Polisian, who is supposed to be her main contender. King Solomon says the reason why Jomoro is NDC stronghold is the fact that everything development in Jomoro was done by the NDC, and not mentioning Asian wasn't surprising. Asian is a walkover. Upon his deputy chieftaincy and MP status, Jomoro cannot boast of anything clever from him. I mean nothing, and the people have rejected him, and he knows that. Dorcas and her team are always working against Samia. This one is from Novinho in Komfo. Even when they were contributing at a funeral, they mentioned Samia. They are always this great. Now, Ice Cream Fancini says Afuafa, and Theo Walcott says Polisian is a man for Jomoro, and Dorcas Afotofe Afa. We need change. That's from Christopher. And Theo Arthur Walcott says Jomoro for Asian. Well, interesting comments there that we're getting from our Facebook page. So at this point, I'm sure it's a good time for us to be wrapping up. And then I'm itching to hear our projections for the Jomoro constituency. I've heard you talk about Samia already.
Yeah. I mean, after Samia, it's easy to predict what will happen to her because her fortunes, again, is going to be affected by the CBP's fielding a candidate in there. So for her, I think it's really settled. Now, for Polisian, the history says that it's not going to be easy. Now let's introduce a factor that may have because there's several of them, may have accounted for his victory also. He won by less than 5,000 votes, but he won when there was a tsunami. And when it's a tsunami, I mean, that's in the NPP swept it, right? I mean, it's historic margins. A lot of the folks who won in constituencies that are traditionally NDC strongholds rode on the back of that wave. Now, would that happen this year? I doubt in terms of whether the margin will be that huge. Definitely will close. What would that mean for him in Jomoro? Because this is traditionally an NDC stronghold, with the exception of the CPP winning in 2008.
Yeah.
So it also comes down to what he's managed to do in the last 4 years, right? Because again, the NDC, the people in Jomoro would have seen what the NDC had done. Because you see, if you've seen NDC for what? Since 1992. Then you see MPP for the first time. If he manages to do something really significant in the last 4 years, people can see the difference. Okay. You've been there. I don't know what he's managed to do. But that, for me, will determine whether he wins or loses. But history says,
Your projection is?
Although he won it as an outlier, history says it's still NDC's to lose. Okay, until I've seen the evidence of what he's done, he still has a strong chance because of what he's done because he won it for the first time for the MPP. But it's still NDC's to lose in that area.
So would this be the second win for the NPP in Jomoro constituency? Joseph Akable, your projection?
I'll go with Evans, except to add that I expect an improved performance from Samia Nkrumah, even though Evans thinks that the CPP will take some of her votes. I don't think so. I think she's way stronger than the CPP and will put up a better performance than she did previously. But I also, the only disagreement that Evans relates to in terms of who has the upper hand, I think Politicians has the slight upper hand, and it's all about what he's able to sell in terms of the message to the people and show them what he's been able to do, and also as whether or not the president will win in that constituency too and will win the national elections, because that also influences it and shows the direction to which the people vote towards.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We have Evans Mensah and of course Joseph Akable joining us for tonight's edition of the Battleground from the Jomoro constituency. Who will it be? Will it be Dorcas Afotofe or Samia Yabankruma or Paul Essien, the incumbent? It remains to be seen. This is your election headquarters, Joy 99.7 FM, radio for the discerning listener. News at 9 coming up shortly.